this next thing I want to do, that was a long one. I didn't realize I was going to talk about Eternals for that long. I'm going to watch this trailer. Apparently, this is a Dark Souls inspired Pinocchio game. Need I say more?
Wake up, son.
Pinocchio is swinging. Lies of P. I don't have a windscreen to help me pop us not pop my peas. What the fuck? Why is this? Why? Why is this? I like how it's called Lies of P. Lies of P. This is ridiculous. If we can't get a Bloodborne sequel, guess Pinocchio will have to do it himself. That's so weird. This is so weird. I'm gonna kill Geppetto for creating me. What a weird concept. I wonder what birthed this thing. Lies of P. Okay, here's one from Kotaku. Horror developer makes hostile Kickstarter update, then apologized to fans. After challenging backers to ask for refunds, many went ahead and did just that. Wow. Okay, did you expect that to end any other way than terrible? The creative director of upcoming horror shooter game Scorn, Yombomir Peklar, has issued. I butcher names. I butcher all names, so I apologize to everyone. If I ever had to read your name, I apologize. Has issued an apology after an update he made to Kickstarter backers last week went horribly wrong. In a statement posted to fans on November 6th, ostensibly about the team's decision to delay H.R. Geiger-inspired game, Peklar ends up writing 15 paragraphs. What? 15 paragraphs? Which veer wildly from totally understandable explanations of the problems inherent in independent games development to offhand calls for unhappy backers to simply ask for refunds of the game. 15 paragraphs? Holy shit, dude. Are you kidding me? That sounds like he had a mental breakdown. Okay. Do I want to do a dramatic reading of this? I feel like I kind of need to. Let me see if I can find an appropriate musical backdrop for a dramatic reading. Darkest Dungeon. Oh, you know what? Let's see. There was one I liked before. Let me go. I think this was it. All right, let's try this. Hello, everyone. In this update, we will highlight the most common issues people have regarding this project and the reason behind some of our decisions. We have addressed some of these issues before, but we will repeat them once more. Because if you want to create something ambitious and consciously, or not so much, bite on something that you can barely chew, scope and production wise, especially the first time around, you have to set up priorities and keep less important things to a minimum. Okay, not so bad so far. What were we doing since the latest trailer was released in October of last year? There is no big revelation here. We were just developing a game, and there is nothing more to it than that. A year is not so big a period when it comes to game development. Some people really dislike us staying silent for such long periods. It's that way by design for a few reasons. The only thing that will get the game out the door faster is concentrating all the effort on development. That is our main priority. Oh shit. Okay. This is too upbeat for tense. Let me I liked how it started, but then it turned into something really dancey, and that's not the kind of tense music I want right now. This is a classic. I used this one last time, I think. Alright, where was I at? Oh yeah. No amount of... I'm sorry, let me just do that, and then I'll just adjust this real quick right over here. No amount of updates are going to make the game better, or make it come out sooner. Quite the opposite. It just makes more tasks on the already enormous list of tasks to finish. It's time-consuming to make your game look presentable to the public. That is done at the very end of development process. The problem of hype. Hype can be a big problem if you need it at the beginning, but still need to work on a project for a considerable amount of time afterwards. We didn't do the marketing for the market, but for the potential investors. We are going to do proper marketing close to release. Presenting the game constantly just creates a vicious cycle. Every update creates anticipation that turns into disappointment for some because the game is not out yet. We realize the frustration, but at the end of the day, we think it's better to lay low and have most people put the game out of their mind than constantly bait them. I agree. The reason we needed the hype in the beginning is rather simple. Let's imagine that we live in some magical world out of nowhere, you just receive all the resources for the game you want to make as a completely unproven new studio. In this magical scenario, the public wouldn't know about our game because we wouldn't announce it until 6 months before the release, whenever that may be, and then just have a steady stream of marketing hype up until release. You see, that's how it used to be done back in like the heyday of game development before the internet. You know, you had no idea what fucking game was in development until it popped up in a magazine like 4 months before it released. I kind of miss those days. I side with these guys, despite my dramatic reading. This isn't mocking. This is just adding flavor. But in the reality we inhabit, nobody will even acknowledge you if you don't see the hype up front. This is why we showed the game, not some vain idea of showing off the work. And now we are stuck with the expectation to constantly feed the beast for years. The decision not to go that route. We decided not to go that route as we want to finish the game in the shortest time possible. Yes, handling the time leading up to release is really bad on our end. But as much as our financial situation has improved, we still have to dedicate resources to specific things, and we think that creating a good game should receive the overwhelming majority of attention rather than trying to constantly keep the marketing flames going. How we spent that time leading up to release should not be of consequence on the release date. Only quality of the game will. It's a strange thing. If some didn't know the game existed, they would enjoy the 6 months of marketing and then the game. But now the very knowledge of its existence feels unbearable to them. Even if it turns out to be a great game, they simply won't be able to enjoy it because, my God, they knew about it for so long. Some people just burn out on hype. If we release it on time and it sucked, they would forget about it in a day. Development hell. Development hell is a term thrown around quite often. It should be used on projects that change their core idea or scope mid-dev and can't adjust to. That doesn't apply to our products for the most part. In our case, a lot of mistakes were made and we'll make more in the future, but it's a normal process for a new and experienced team. Everything that was done up until the middle of 2018 has been reworked, 90% of it completely scrapped. It's about making it what we want it to be, not releasing it just because we gave some arbitrary release date. If it's not ready, it's not ready. And why would people want to play something that developers think is not up to par? Microsoft, Kowloon, Kepler deals. People are wary. Let me hold on a second. People are wary of big companies, and for a good reason most of the time. But in our case, it was nothing but support from everyone involved. We are even surprised by how smooth everything has been. Some think that influx of resources would create more problems, and that we should finish the game with as little resources. Creating an interesting and engaging game requires time and resources. Period. Money is what allows us to create something of quality. Enthusiasm alone can only take you so far. We are obliged to periodically give them updates on progress, but the builds that we are sending them are the builds we are making anyways. These builds don't have to be polished, as industry people understand unfinished builds, games in development. For the general public, things need to be polished. That is a major difference. Some people just want to see the progress and don't care if it's a work in progress, but others will judge it as an unfinished product. We hope to create a great game and our backers will receive a great game. That is the bottom line and our main goal. We will get there sooner with as fewest distractions as possible. If people want to stay with us to the end, great. If they don't want to, we still offer a way out. Release plan. For the record, yes, the game has slipped into 2022, and we will have an official confirmation on the delay on the 10th of December. It was supposed to be announced in October, but our circumstances out of our control postponed it. If it turns out not to be on the 10th by our or someone else's will, don't hold it too much against us. And for the end, a bit of friendly advice. If lack of communication is so bothersome, just ask for a refund and be done with it. It's just a game. You can play it when it's out if you're still interested. Well, you know what? Honestly, that wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it would be. It wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it would be. I mean, you always kind of want to shy away from the fuck? Come on, mic stand. Get with it here. Mic stand. You always want to shy away from, like, you know, telling people to get refunds if they aren't specifically asking for refunds. So if I mean, I don't know. I kind of applaud them on that regard, to be perfectly honest with you. While Peckler's tone is a little standoffish through the majority of the update reads like the frustration of someone who is simply working hard on their game until you get to the very end. For the record, yes, blah 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 blah. You can ask for an update if you're still, or ask for a refund if you're still interested. That did not go well. Comments underneath the post quickly filled with backers taking Peckler up on his offer and asking everyone, here are some examples. Wait, hold on a second. I'd like a refund, please. Okay. Check your KS inbox for the details. To match the tone of the update, I expect a full refund today. I would like a refund, please. Refund, please. Nothing but support. Okay, cool. As a game developer myself. As a game developer myself, I completely get where you're coming for. I'm fine waiting for it to come out whenever you feel it's ready. However, I feel this is completely unasked for after a year of no updates, when even just screenshots, concept art, or some level design would suffice. Or maybe interviews with the devs. There's plenty of ways to interact with the community without hampering the dev process. Please add me to the refund list. I get that. I have a video, actually, one of the first videos I made, I think maybe shortly after I built this PC. I talked about a Kickstarter game that I had backed a while ago called Liege. You can look that video up. That video has a rocky development history, and I remember I backed it. It reached full funding, I think, in 2013, and after it reached its full funding, it continued to take donations through PayPal on its website, official website. And I remember I backed it there. I donated on PayPal. And somewhere in 2016, I think, the guy just stone cold stopped giving updates. And, you know, people would ask him for updates and he wouldn't give one. And, you know, he still responded to people, but his response was basically, I'm still working hard. We got an update coming soon. But that update coming soon never came. And, you know, eventually it was 2018. And I would ask him, like, hey, where's the update? 2019, I asked him, where's the update? There's still no update. Like, I hounded him about it. There was just no update at all. Like, not even, and I told him, like, it doesn't need to be like a thorough fucking, you know, enema, you know, up your development team's ass. It could just be something, you know, just some simple, you know, updates on the systems you've changed and that sort of stuff. Like, give us something, but asking him for refunds, and to his credit, he had been giving refunds, and eventually I asked for a refund too, and to his credit, he gave it to me. And at that point, I just kind of left it alone up until the time I made that video. So I understand all of this. Like, backing a video game on Kickstarter is a sketchy proposition, because developing games is tough. It's not easy. Come on, headphones. it's not an easy thing to do to develop a video game. It's a big ask, and there's a lot of moving parts there, and it's tough. It's really tough, and it's very unpredictable. You can spend a month developing a system that on paper looks awesome, but then once you actually like start playing it and you start focus testing it even, you realize, oh, this is better on paper than it is in practice. Like, we just spent months developing this out, and it doesn't work the way that we had liked it to work. Like, what are we going to do about this now? And when you get to that kind of situation, then it's like, oh, well, I guess the only thing we can do is scrap it or refactor it. And refactoring it or scrapping it is, like, scrapping it is better, because then, you know, you don't have any additional work. You just kind of throw in the trash all those months of hard work and then just move on. But if you end up, if it's a system that you can't do without, you have to refactor it, then you're just going back to the drawing board. You're setting yourself back however many months you spent developing that system. So, like, it's a tough ask for developing a game. And this is why I'm very trepidatious about backing Kickstarter games. And I'm speaking as someone that has like 14 years of game development experience. Like, a Kickstarter game I would back is one that already had like the assurances of a production company, of a publisher rather. Like, if the publisher's already backing it and they're doing a Kickstarter just to gauge interest, and the game seems cool, I don't mind at all funding that project. Even though like there's an attitude about, well, it already has a publisher, why doesn't the publisher just fund it? Why are they asking it from me? Well, so long as my funding the project goes towards actually purchasing it, like a pre-order, then I don't give a shit. Like, I'd rather, if it's something that seems exciting and cool, then I'd rather contribute to the excitement of the project. Like, and that's what they're trying to gauge. They're trying to gauge the level of excitement and the level of engagement from the gaming community for a project. That's what Shenmue was it Shenmue 3? Or whatever they called that last Shenmue. That's what that Kickstarter was all about. It was always going to be published, but they wanted to gauge what the actual community excitement was for the project. That's what that Kickstarter was about. Kickstarter, if used in that regard, is fine. But like for any indie company or like 2 or 3 developers, like being like, hey, we're making a video game, fund us. Like that's top sketch. And I'm not saying that's sketch because those people are like con artists or anything, but developing a game is hard. And if you're going to fund that, you need to fund it understanding that there's a 50 to 70% chance that you're never going to play that game. Like, it's more rare that those games actually come out in any capacity that lives up to the promise than, you know, the game's not coming, or the game's not coming out. So that's my attitude on Kickstarter games, at least. So this sort of stuff just seems like, you know, I don't even know what this is though. Ebb Software, Scorn. Yeah, it said H.R. Geiger inspired, and that definitely looks like H.R. Geiger. Ebb Software. Kind of looks cool so far. So it's a first-person shooter that is definitely H.R. Geiger inspired. It looks pretty awesome, to be perfectly honest with you, as far as graphical fidelity is concerned. Okay, well, here's the thing. If you have a game that looks this good and people are excited about it and they're getting antsy about updates and shit, you can't really fucking go hard at them. This looks like a scene out of Prometheus, honestly. You can't really go hard at them, like being like, well, just fucking ask for your money back, you little whiny bitch, or whatever the tone of that update was. You can't really do that, man. People are amped about your game. They're getting kind of antsy because it looks really cool. It looks cool. It looks good. You know, people are amped up about that. They want that update. They want an update, basically. They just want an update. They don't even necessarily want the game. They just want the update. So just give them the update. Just give them an update. Any kind of update. Just be like, hey, this is an official update. We're plugging away really hard on this game. We have a couple of milestones that we're working towards. We're trying to the same kind of updates that you would give your publisher. If Microsoft was publishing your game and they were asking for your sprint updates, you know, at the end of each sprint, you just give a pared down version of that for the rubes on Kickstarter. Like, we're refactoring combat. We're tidying up the controls and blah blah blah. We're adding in support for this right now. We're really heads down. Unfortunately, for this update, there's not a whole lot of new visual things we can show, but here's some screenshots of X, Y, and Z, and here's blah blah blah, and just take like a picture. You'd be surprised at what people will be happy with, you know, as far as updates are concerned. You can take a picture of some guy just sitting at his desk, like, hard at work. I'm hard at work, and you can see that on my screen there's like a editor open of some sort, and I'm doing something. There's a guy in a T-pose, and I'm doing something. So yeah, we're hard at work. You know, you can just take a picture of that and then just add some updates around the context of the actual work you're doing. Because you are doing work, right? Like, you are doing work. So just add a little bit of context around the work that you're doing, and that's a great update. You know, people are like, all right, they're hard at work. Cool. Can't wait for this game. Like, it's not that hard. It shouldn't be that hard. The first thing, I'm going to start saying this. The first thing that all of these indie game development Kickstarter companies should hire when they like start doing this shit, when they get funded and they have that money, hire a social media manager. Hire somebody that knows how to talk to your customers, right? Somebody that can just periodically post updates like once every 3 or 4 weeks or whatever. Somebody that knows how to do outreach. Somebody that isn't going to do this and elicit this kind of response, right? Like, that's all you really need. It's not a tough ask. It's not a tough ask. Over a year without any kind of update, and then this stop bothering us post, and your CEO's response is, sorry, wait 3 days and I'll think about replying. I would like a refund. To match the tone of the update, I expect a full refund today. I'd like a refund, please. That post was completely out of line. I not only back because of the game, I back because of the people behind it. Exactly. Like, if there's a cool group of dudes that looks like they know what they're doing, if they have like a lot of history in the game development sphere, and it's like, oh, okay, these guys actually know what they're talking about. They're not just a bunch of novices out of Full Sail or whatever trying to make a game. Is Full Sail even still a thing? Like, then yeah, people will back it for that reason. And you can give those people stuff just by rudimentary updates like that. Like, just give them something, dude. Something. And without being a dick about it. If you're not going to take if you're going to not take any accountability and shift all this BS onto consumer, then I'll take my money elsewhere. And they went on and on. Faced with a scenario where the development team were losing money over a Kickstarter update, Peklar posted a follow-up on November 7th in which he takes full responsibility for the last update and admits it was clear that the hostile tone it was written in should not be how we should express ideas or plans to people. Hello, everyone. My name is... I'm going to butcher it, so I'll just not say it. You can read it right there. And I'm the CEO of Ebb Software and also the creative director of the game. I take full responsibility for the last update that you received from our chaos yesterday. I quickly and haphazardly read through the draft of all of the update and in all my wisdom approved it. Reading through again, it was clear that the hostile tone it was written in should not be how we should express ideas or plans to people that help us out. We may be tired, confused, frustrated at our own ineptitude, but there is no reason to lash out at you. For that, I personally apologize. I will do my best. This kind of outburst will not happen again. We will do a proper update regarding all the race concerns on Monday. Okay, well, the guy apologized. That's tough, man. Game development is really hard, guys. Just understand that. Just understand that. Game developers are really hard. Hey guys, thanks for watching this video. If you liked what I said, what Justin said, if you like the content we're providing, if you had any kind of laughs at all, even if you hate us, if you hate my guts, if you want to stab me, if you want to say all sorts of horrible things to me, cool. Like the video, subscribe. You'll get fed all sorts of shit you'll probably hate. And if you like us, you'll get fed all sorts of shit you probably like. So please and thank you.